This is Solo People and welcome to F1 Debrief episode 42, the Mexican Grand Prix. But for everybody who's listening on the Spotify and the iTunes, please remember to recommend this audio to your friends. And for people on YouTube, remember, like and subscribe. So this is the debrief. This is where we just go through the weekend of the of our Grand Prix weekend. It's not really as long as the review. We're just going to go through a few bits, maybe strategy. Might talk about strategy today. So I'm going to bring in my coach, who's my partner in crime. He is the partner of this channel. Keep it sports. TOTO. Yeah,
big up, man.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good. Recapping. Always recapping of the race. Interesting Mexican Grand Prix. But yeah, overall all good.
So, before we start getting into this Grand Prix, we're going to talk about strategy today. That's what we're talking about today. We could probably talk about McLaren, if that's what we're talking about, strategy with McLaren and the balance of the car, why it's so good on tyres. But yeah, the Mexican Grand Prix. So, before we start getting into it, remember again, like I said, like and subscribe. And for all the iTunes people, remember to recommend this podcast to your family and friends as well. So, let's start. Go with McLaren. What did you think of Lando Norris' strategy? The complete opposite to Max Verstappen. Max Verstappen came in a bit earlier. There was complaining about the car, but it came in earlier. I think it was about 8 laps earlier than Lando Norris. That's basically, they tried to do the undercut. That didn't work. Lando Norris, again, at the beginning, wasn't really going that fast, preserving his tyres. Yeah. So what do you think of it all? How it all played out for him? Lando Norris?
I think that McLaren all weekend has been decent. Lando didn't bottle his start this time, but I think overall the hard tyres were the preferred time, and once that strategy works, not always that the Mexican Grand Prix has a high temperature. If the track's a high temperature, high altitude, it's not nice for the tyres, right? But it was the perfect balanced temperature, balanced altitude, balanced temperature, and the hard tyres didn't work for McLaren. And it seems like they never lost pace. They carried on going, and they never actually lost pace. So McLaren's strategy and how it worked out, it was good. He gained positions. Luckily, didn't get no damage. After that, all them, him and Max were scrapping it out on the track. But I think overall, if you're on about tyres, McLaren nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. Nailed the strategy. Got himself on the podium, didn't he? Got him third place. He got second place. Second place. He got on the podium. I think a couple more laps he would have got first, but of course there isn't a couple more laps because he was getting on Sainz really, really good on them hard tyres. Catching up with Leclerc easily every single lap, 1-2 seconds. Every single lap his lap time was improving. So the hard tyres worked really, really well for McLaren. And you can also say for Mercedes as well, finishing 4th and 5th. Hamilton having an absolutely amazing race and finishing in 4th. Because, them hard tyres are really, really good this weekend. And it works out for a couple of teams, not just McLaren, but teams like Mercedes as well. And, of course, Carlos Sainz. The hard tyres did work out. So, one-stop strategy was the best here. In these past couple of races, you don't really expect a one-stop strategy. I think one who pulled it off unexpectedly was Ferrari. I forgot what the race it was, but it's usually 2-stop or 3-stop strategies that you see now. But it was the right temperature, right altitude, right conditions. That's what made the hard tyres go towards the end.
Yeah, I agree with most of that. Also, it's the balance of the car as well. I think that McLaren's car is perfectly balanced, and that's what gives them the good the tire wear. Because if you're a racer, if the car is off a bit with the balance, obviously if the balance is not correctly, the rear tires will probably wear out more, or the front tires, depends how it's balanced. But I think
it depends if you understeer or oversteer.
Yeah, and that's what causes it as well. I really think that the McLaren car is perfectly balanced, and I think at the beginning of the race, even though Lando Norris, and I'm not. He didn't really have a bad start, but it could have been better. Because we all know with the Mexican Grand Prix that first straight is very, very long. So you got a good chance when you're in third place to get the toe. He didn't really pick up the toe that much. I think Max Verstappen took advantage of that. But you know how he is. But with Max, I think regarding Lando Norris, I thought even when he got into third place, I thought he was in a good position. I thought the race would come to him because I know how that car's very good. It's obviously that the Ferrari and the Red Bull have improved since the break. But the McLaren car is still there. So I think as the race was progressing, I always thought that Lando Norris could come back into the fold, which he did. He showed at the end. And I also like the way McLaren had Oscar Piastri. They rolled the dice. They made him stay a little bit longer because Oscar stayed out a lot longer than everybody else. And his tyres were still good when he came into the pits as well. I thought Oscar could have maybe went another couple more laps. It didn't really work out that way. I think their plan was at the end for him to try and get Max Verstappen. But for some reason, he just didn't. He come up a little bit short, but they still rolled the dice. And I like how McLaren done that during the race. I thought it was very clever. And they're actually showing now that when it comes to strategy, that they're on top of it. And that's what I want to see because we all know you can have the fastest car in the world, but if you haven't got a good strategy team or a good pit team, you can fall short by winning a world title. It has happened before. This is why Red Bull always work on the tyres. They always work on the pits. McLaren's pits are brilliant now. 2.0. Sub 2 seconds, 2.5 is the slowest, which is absolutely amazing. Hopefully when next season comes, that McLaren can work on going even better in the pits. But 2.0, 2.5 is absolutely amazing because we know the pits, the race can be lost and won in the pits. You know that. You've seen that before. So regarding McLaren, absolutely amazing strategy and big up to them.
Yeah. And I think overall, I think you've run about the rest of the season now. There is currently three more races to go. Of course, you've got Brazilian now. If you count out Brazil, four races. Then we've got Brazil. Then it's 3 races
and 2 sprint races.
So there's a lot of races for McLaren to pick up points.
Yeah.
And I think for McLaren has the car, but you've got to focus on Max because Max at the moment can just finish 4th, 3rd consistently, or even above Norris.
Not if Norris comes first all the time.
If Norris finishes first all the time,
yeah.
Okay, this is what Norris needs to focus on now. He needs to finish on
just winning.
Just win. If he wins, you're fine because it will go down to the wire. Then it will go down to the wire, and then it will go down if Norris finishes ahead of Max or Max finishes ahead of Norris. That's all Norris has to think about now.
Yeah,
and
correct.
It's not necessarily that Verstappen's going to finish 2nd every race or third every race. He could finish 4th or 5th. Yeah. That Red Bull car is a good car, but it isn't as good as it was at the beginning of the season.
Correct.
It can be challenged now. Look at Ferrari. Ever since Baku, Ferrari has improved and improved. They have improved since Baku, and this is what I'm saying. McLaren has got to get that act together because it's not just them challenging. Ferrari wants some constructors, man, and Ferrari is close to getting them constructors. They're really, really close to taking the lead. And my book at the beginning of the season that Ferrari was going to win in constructors. I think Ferrari. I still stick to it now. I think Ferrari's going to win in constructors. They've got a good car. They'll come through next season. They'll come through as well. So it's going to be hard. So I think for constructors, it's going to be between Ferrari, McLaren, Ferrari, McLaren, and Red Bull. Of course, Mercedes has some decent points as well, but I'm not sure they're in the running for the lead. The leader. I think Mercedes can get top 3 still because they've got a decent car to do so. But I don't think for the win, no. So driver's title, Norris needs to focus on winning, man. Because if you don't focus on winning, if you finish 2nd and 3rd, it won't be good enough for the title. It won't be good enough. Only exception.
First.
If the only exception, if 2nd and 3rd is acceptable, is that Verstappen gets a DNF. That is the only time. Because Verstappen still finished with 8 points.
Yeah.
He still finished with 8 points. He got a 20-second time penalty.
Yeah.
Right, and still finished 6th place.
That shows that the other cars are not really that good.
It shows for F1.
Totally agree. Only
the front row Only
Totally
four
agree.
teams in it: Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, and McLaren. They're the only 4 teams in it.
But you
In
know
the
the key.
top
Do you
rows.
know the key for this championship? The key, obviously, there's two keys. There's 2 keys. I don't know if you can pronounce it like that. Anyway, I'll pronounce it this way. There's 2 keys for McLaren for them to win this title. Lando Norris has to win every single race, or maybe second occasionally, but mostly first place. But you know what the key is? Ferrari. Ferrari's the key. And the reason why I say Ferrari's the keys is because since the summer break, not the summer break, the second summer break, I'd say. It's not really a summer break because they can go in the garage, but enough of that. The reason why I think that Ferrari are the keys because their pace has stepped up, significantly stepped up. They have stepped up their pace. Now, if they can get in between Lando Norris, and Red Bull, and be that bridge, that gap between those 2 cars, that's going to make Lando Norris's life a lot easier. Because we know how Ferrari is. They're a good team. But again, they're track specific. They're not good at every single track. They're not. But McLaren is. And Red Bull mostly is. Ferrari might win 2-3 races in a row and then drop off. We've seen it week in and week out, year in and year out. Now, the next races that are coming up are going to suit the McLaren car. The next race will suit McLaren's car in Qatar. Nice. Perfect for McLaren. Perfect for Red Bull, maybe. But if Ferrari can get in the middle of those 2, or even Mercedes, if Mercedes suddenly starts to step up, because you know how Mercedes is, that would bridge the gap. But the key is Ferrari. Maybe Sainz is the key. Because Sainz at the moment is performing a lot better than Charles Leclerc. Let's call it is. Now, if he can get in between those 2 cars, that will help Lando progress to the world title. Who do you know? You know who's one of Lando's best friends? Carlos Sainz.
Yeah.
Carlos Sainz knows he's not going to win the driver's title. He knows this. What's stopping Carlos Sainz from saying to Zach Brown? Saying to Ferrari, look, let's help Lando win this world title. It could happen. Let's help Lando win this world title. If they get the constructors in the bag, they could say, you know what, let's help Lando win this world title. Because you know how them 2 are close. It could happen. If Ferrari's got the constructors in the bag, he could turn around and say, you know what, let's help out. Remember, the last race of the season when he knows he's already won the constructors. He could help out Lando Norris. It can happen. They say teammates do, which they do, but he's like a teammate.
They need Piastri up there to hold up Max because
him as well. I don't know what's going on with him now.
If Piastri can stay ahead of Max,
that's another one.
That's going to be a good thing because the more Max is stuck behind Piastri, right, the more points he'll lose out on, and the more track position he'll lose out on. Piastri's got to help that Norris. If Piastri don't help Norris, the title's going to Max. That's in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right. Because if no one is trying to stop Max, right, and Max is just flying through the field, right, there's going to be no point. Piastri needs to help Norris. If Piastri don't help Norris, or Ferrari don't get involved, Verstappen's won it. And I hate to say it because Lando Norris needs to be really, really consistent, and Lando Norris isn't the most consistent driver.
Okay, we'll get it. It's debrief now, and I'll get it. But I think Lando Norris is consistent, but I think Lando Norris just needs to now starts a little bit better. That's the key. Because Lando Norris, even if he has a crap start, he comes back in the race. He's like Lewis Hamilton lately. Not really good in the qualifying, but when it comes to the race, he steps up. And that's what Lando Norris is at the moment. Race pace is there. But when it comes to the beginning, the starting of the race, he needs to work on his starts. That's definitely for next year, which I totally agree with you. So, that's the end of the debrief. You got anything else to say before we go, Toto? You got more to say? Come on, we still got a couple of minutes if you want to say anything.
Oh, that's what I say.
Go ahead.
Of course, go follow my TikTok channel, Toto Hammer. Put in all capitals, Toto space Hammer.
Yeah.
Go follow that. Of course, I've got my Twitter, Toto at TotoHammer44. There'll be more of my karting content because I'm going karting soon. I've got a sprint race, Sodi sprint race, I think. I don't know. coming up. And yeah, man, follow the journey. And yeah, you know, just practicing for my Club 100 qualifiers.
Say it again
Obviously,
for the viewers. What's your TikTok again? For your
to,
race, for your racing.
all capitals, Toto space Hammer. I do FIFA, sim racing, streams, TikTok lives, because I don't go on Twitch anymore because Twitch is kind of dead now. So
I think you should have one. You know what you should do? I think you should have one. I know you do FIFA on it. Yeah, you do FIFA. Is this a new TikTok? What you got? What you got? I think
yeah,
you should. I think you should have a TikTok.
followers.
I think you should have a TikTok. One for your racing, or you want to do both. One for your racing and one.
Because I said in my bio that I do karting content, sim racing content, and FIFA
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
Everything's beyond that. Of course, I've already got 2,000 followers on it because I've had the account. But I've made a fresh new layout. There's a new bio. There's a new name. So it's a completely
Oh,
fresh.
you got 2,271 followers. Whoa.
Yeah,
How
2,000.
how long you had that TikTok?
Couple. Like I say, a couple years, but I didn't really upload on it. I used to upload on it, which got me the followers. You know, like football edits and stuff like that. But I've completely rebranded it all. Got
So what's the other one? What's the other one then?
No, this is the same one, but I've rebranded it all.
Yeah.
Rebranded it all, so everything's good as new. TikTok lives and all that's coming up. Sim racing as well. So just keep an eye on that, man. It's going to be really big over there. And of course, I've got my Twitter page as well, where I do all sorts of promotion. Sim racing life, karting life, whatever. Just keep an eye on that.
All right. So I'm going to be off then. Remember to go follow him on TikTok, Toto Hammer 44. It's all on there, all caps. I can see it now. Big up. So I'll put the link in the description on YouTube as well. I'm going to do it now for this video. But big up to everybody. See you later, guys. End of the debrief.